Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today's video will be part 3 of the MtoA 510 series where I'll be showing you how to set up a pretty nice looking render using Quixel Megascans. And in part 2, this is what was our final result. So how to go back here, there we go. So what I did, I was setting up the shaders for this guy in part 1. And for all the other things like the fern, the other mushroom types, the clover leaves, and the backgrounds, I was doing in part 2. What I want to focus on today is to match the lighting more closely to what we have in the reference. So currently what we don't have is we don't have this hot light here, so I'll be creating hot lights coming from there, and the background will be pretty white, like bright lights, as you can see in the reference as well. And also I will do some more blocking, so we have I'm not sure exactly. Like you can see that it's pretty dark here, but I've got already some highlights here, which I actually do like, so I might just keep them. But I definitely want to brighten up some mushrooms. I might add a few more in this area, so maybe I'll add another mushroom right here, and maybe another one in the distance there, just that we have these nice bright differences in the render itself. And also this huge rock here in the background is just one color, and I need one to break that one up as well. So and obviously I want to create some beauty lights just to catch different just to shape all the objects a bit nicer. So let's jump in and get started. So the first thing what I do is want to create this hot background light, and to first set it up I want to disable the last depth of field step we had. And I just also want to show you the current HDR I'm using. It's nothing really fancy, but I'll show it to you anyways. It's just that I have something, right? So this needs to be a lot more. So it's just some, it's way too big. Let's just reduce it to 1000. So as you can see, it's like kind of a greenhouse. It's not something outdoor because I have a direct light source which is mimicking the sun. So I'm just using this as an ambient light, and also I have a light blocker in here as well, which is blocking most of the direct light. So all the top-down lighting is being blocked out by this huge plane, and all the stuff is happening below it. So the only ambient light I get is kind of this green stuff from there to here, and all the rest is being blocked out. So this is kind of the way I work, and to create contrast I have lots of blockers to do that. And the shader on this is like a flat black color, so it does not contribute. It's just visible in spec. So that's currently what it is. And what I want to do now is I don't want to really mess up my overall lighting direction, so I don't want to be moving the lights. I will just create another light source. I guess it will be a strong area light somewhere around here. Come on, somewhere around here, but in the background, which just lights up these areas. So let's see how we can do that. Obviously, let's create a light. And I like to use the light control tool in my light shader scripts. And I guess the new light is the area light down there, which is this guy. And it automatically looks through the lights, so I can place it directly. So here's my camera. I want it to be somewhere around here. And obviously you have all the controls for the light itself, so you can have intensity, scale, and all that fancy stuff there as well. You have also scale down here, but you can also do it up here. So I might be creating a blocker just that I don't affect too much of the other lights. So let's see what we can. Alright, so what I want to do now, I just want to hide all the foreground stuff, so just that we see what we're actually working with. So I'm just hiding that out. And I will switch to the perspective camera as well. Not sure why I don't see anything in there. Interesting. Oh, I think it's going through the plane. Okay. I've got the blocker plane, and I think I was just into going through it. All right, so this is now the scene from the top. Now let's increase the intensity of the light. Let's just try 10. We'll see what we get. Didn't see any difference, so let's try to remove the normalize. I'm not sure. I don't think it's. Let's just update full scene. I think it did not affect it because I renamed it by dragging it into the light group, and then it lost its connection to it. Yeah, that's what happened. So now bring back the normalize, and let's just move the light down. And for now, use isolate selected so I can actually see only the influence of the light. Okay, I just want to affect this area, right? So let's try to only use in diffuse. Oh, does it? Indirect off? Indirect was the issue. Okay, I didn't want to contribute an indirect because it creates fireflies. So if I look through the camera now, you can see what's happening, and it's only lighting up the background, which is exactly what I want. Let's just move it over. Okay, I wanted to go back a bit more. Okay. This is just catching a speck hit, which is also very interesting. Let's have a look from the top again. Okay, so this is the area of effect. Okay, I think this is kind of what I wanted to see. Let's see how it looks now with all the lights. Okay, getting bright here. And as you can see, I have these gobos right here. Gobo is just like a leaf pattern which blocks the light. And you can see what it's creating there, right? And I just want to duplicate that and create some breakup on the big areas on the left here and in the center. I duplicated it and I didn't like it, I guess. Okay, so I just want to move this pattern over, and you can see what's happening here in the perspective. You can see that the shadow is moving quite a bit over there. And I just want to move the shadow over this area, right? So let's just first hide this new area light, so we can only see the effect of the gobo from the directional light. And this is something I do in production as well, just to create some pattern, some geometry, or sometimes just a texture to break up big, boring surfaces like this one, right? You can see now the shadow which is being cast over there. And I just want to position it nicer so it's a bit more interesting. Something like that. And then I just duplicate this again and I move it over so there's also something on this guy. And if you want softer shadows, what you can do is you can go to the directional light and work with the angle, which produces softer shadows, which is what we want as well. So on here we should have pretty soft ones now. And you can see if I zoom to the close-up, we'll get pretty soft shadows all over, which is cool. So let's look back to the camera shape, and you can see that is it actually hidden? Yeah, it's hidden. Okay, I'm not sure if it's active now. It's here. Unfortunately, it's not there as I would want it to be. So might need to create another light or just move this light so we get actually some bright spots right behind the objects of interest. So let's do that. Okay. I will need to create a blocker for sure. Let's just bring back more intensity. Let's try 18. Yeah, this is it's a bit strong now, but it's getting somewhere. So what I'll be doing now is I will create another light, another blocker geometry, like I did here, and I'll just duplicate it and move it very close to my area light. And this is something people do on film sets as well. They have light sources and they have big planes to block lights. They call it flags sometimes as well. You can use also the built-in blocker from each area light has a built-in one, so you don't need to create geometry for this. And you can see what's happening. I'm blocking the light now there. And now let's see the effect. Okay, so it's only appearing there now, which is what I want. So if I would move this out of the way, I think I can lock the selection on the light as well. And if I move it out of the way, you see this is now what's happening. It's blocking all the light from the back there. Pretty cool, right? So this is now all overexposed and it's still pretty bright there. I think it's also from just the light. Okay, so I don't want this to be so bright, so I will block this light there as well. So I'll just duplicate the blocker again. And I'll just move it to block the light for the rock there in the back. See, now it's not blocking, no, it's not lighting the mountain there, or the whatever that is, the little rock, and only the background is lit. So this is how you would do beauty lighting for a shot, for a single shot. If you don't have too much camera movement, this should work pretty good. Okay, so let's just see what happens if we bring back all the other geometry, and then we'll render again and see. So as you can see, the foreground got very bright. So I think when I was moving the gobos from the top, I was removing one on the front here, and that's why it's so bright. So I need to get that one back for sure. I'm not even sure if it's supposed to be one of these guys. Yeah, there's just one here anymore, and I had definitely two there. So I'll just duplicate this guy, move it back over here. And what I want to do now is want to look through the camera, through the light actually. Look through selected, zoom out. And move the lights, move the gobo. You can see now it's blocking it again. And now I need to reposition everything so it's working as expected. So I'm working now on the lighting view, which is sometimes more easy to work with, more convenient for sure. can see now all the foreground stuff is blocked out. And I just need to fine tune it now again so we have the proper position. Or actually what I can do, I can go back to a previous version and just grab the gobos from there, so I don't need to go through this process. So I'll just go back one version and bring it back. Alright, so I just brought back the other gobos and we get the same shadowing as we had previously. Just overall, some aspects got a bit brighter because of the area light I have introduced. So if I store this and compare it for after and before, and if I disable the area light, we should kind of get the same or very close lighting than we had before, which is this and this. So I would say this is the same lighting, and the area light just makes everything a bit brighter, which is what I wanted. So now we are closer, I would say, to the reference with these bright spots there and there. And now I just want to create this. This is a bit too bright, I would guess, the fern on the right. I want to duplicate another mushroom and just position it kind of in the sun where the clovers are there. So we get another mushroom here, which is directly in the sun. And I want to see how that looks. So let's do that now. Save first and select, let's use the one here in the background. Am I in the, no. Okay, there it is. Actually, just let's use simple shading. And there we go. Just a bit easier to see. And I also want to just quickly hide this from the viewport because I will always go through that. And choose the mushroom again. This guy. And duplicate it. And let's move it. If I go to basic, it's always faster to position things because it ignores all the shaders, and it's a good way to quickly position things in the scene. Okay, so now it's there, and I just might break the scale and scale it up a bit. Move it up as well. It's still a bit of scene placement here, so it's kind of there, and I hope it's now in the sun. Let's see what we have. Yeah, it is right in the sun. Let's see how that looks. So I think it's working. I'm just a bit afraid that it is too hot. Well, let's see how when it converges. I think it's maybe okay. You can see the nice red bleeding through. And it's, well, we might just go a stop down on the area light. Oh, let's just 16.7. That's better. So now it's not as hot, but it's still in the sun. And I also want to, I don't know, I want to add a rim on top of this guy. Still not so sure how to do it without affecting the other lights, but I'll try to just create one. Yeah, I'm still looking at these stems, and it's so nice because it's so black here and they still catch these nice highlights. I really like that. And that's something I don't get because my mushroom stems are pretty bright and not as dark as these are, so I'm missing the overall effect of these white trunks, I would say. Okay, so we've got a new mushroom there. I think of moving it a bit to the side though. And maybe upwards a bit. So this one is still blocking everything. So how does it look? Okay, so this one now catches a bit more sun, which is interesting. Let's just scale this bad boy up a bit. Okay, interesting. So now I placed it a bit more in the sun, which I think adds a nice breakup here. Okay, that's looking good. So what else do we need? I think we need to shape those mushrooms a bit. Like there is, I've added this one area light from the side, and I need to, I think I need to position it a bit better so we get a nicer looking effect on the sides. And also, this is a bit too bright. But so for now, let's let this convolge a bit more. Brown leaf, fern is good. I like the green fern there. It really helps, like, to add more color to this. This one can get a rim from the top here for sure. So let's store this, save, and let's see how my beauty area light looks like. I think it's this guy here. Isolate that. All right, so let's see how the area light looks like if I select it and isolate on. Okay, so this is now my side beauty light, and you can see it's working pretty good, but I definitely need to reshape it a bit more, and especially in this area here. So to speed up my IPR, let's see the render settings. For sure we need to put these down, and also let's just go to diagnostics and disable SSS as well. And now it should be a bit faster to iterate. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this bad boy. Okay, smaller light means sharper shadows. This is what we want. And I want to create a stronger rim impression. Okay. Okay, I guess this is pretty interesting. So now we have a strong rim from here, which catches also on these guys. That's nice, and it also helps to speck on the rocks. So let's make this a bit bigger. Yeah, I think that's helping now a lot. And if we need to, if this is too bright, we can just add a blocker there so we don't affect this as much. And I'm not sure which, oh, that's this guy there. So we might need to add a separate light just to add some rim on this guy as well, if this is not working good enough. So let's see how this works. It's helping a lot to shape the mushroom over there. You can see how dark it is, and with this nice light you get the nice shape on it. So it's pretty good, and this is exactly what I wanted to add. On these guys, let's see. Nothing, and with it on, you can definitely see the nice shape now, how flat the stems are now, and now with the area light on, you get the nice round look of them, and this is exactly how you shape with lights. Right. It's blue, so it's eating up the colors a bit. So if I would have a white light, it would be better, I guess. We can also try a bit warmer light. This is more the artistic thing now. So on default, you shouldn't be playing too much with the lights, but I like that to have cool rim lights. So I tend to go somewhere here. All right, so let's see if we can just increase the effect just on the far right mushroom a bit more. So to do that, I guess I would need to scale it up a bit more, a bit higher up. Yeah, it needs to go from higher. Okay. That's cool. How does it work here still? Down, up. Let's just scale it up. Okay. Okay, I like the overall effect now. You can see the rock is working pretty awesome now with all these little glints. This might be too much on here. So what I can do now, I can just use the area light itself and create a blocker for this. So in the area light at the bottom, there's light filters, add light blocker as a filter, and oops, light blocker 1. Let's just hide all the other lights quickly. It would be the same as isolating it, but it's just to still select, being able to select the transform node. So now I have a box somewhere in the origin. There it is. And this box is like I think like a geometry box. And whatever is inside it is being blocked by light. So if I place it in front of the camera, and you need to add some density, you can see now this area being darkened, right? This is where the box is currently. And if I make it bigger, it's blocking the whole area. So I want it just to be in front of the camera, somewhere here. So I don't get these foreground elements as bright. But I still want it on the rock, right? So this is now fine tuning. Yep, I think this did it, right? Not sure, this is the clover there. Yep. A bit forwards, there we go. Okay, so this was pretty successful, so you can see what it did. It just blocked the light in that area. Okay, unhiding all the lights and rendering, and we see what we get, and then I'll be back. Right, so this is now the new render, and the only thing which bothers me a bit is the mushroom in the front here is still too much out of focus. So what I'll be doing now is I will move this guy a bit further back so it's getting more focus. And the mushroom which you placed here behind this guy, I think it needs to go higher so we can see it in the sun. So two things I will be changing so before we finish this. So let's just move, that's a foreground mushroom which I want to be closer to this guy. So what I'll be I'll be moving it just back here. And we'll see, I think the render is still cooking. Yeah, it is. So let's just leave it running on progressive on. And this is now the placement of this bad boy. And you can see it's catching the rim way nicer now because it's more in focus. The only problem is it's blocking the other mushroom, so I'll need to find a better spot for that. Yeah, this might work here. I'll just need to see if I can position it just behind this other guy. And then we should be good. Okay, so I think if we put it here, it should be behind the foreground one. So let's just look through the camera again. And it's behind it, that's perfect. And now we should see some nice lighting. I think I can actually disable depth of field also on the globals. Ignore. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we get the nice rim here, it's in focus, and I wanted to move this one as well. So let's just disable SSS for now, just for a bit faster feedback. Let's move the other one. I think it's this guy. Yeah. And I want it to be more visible, so I might just make it, maybe I just scale it up a bit. And maybe I tilt it over. This might look interesting, I guess. Let's see with SSS on. So it's, I think this might work. We might also increase the sun or the light a bit more. What else? Is this the render? Okay, so this is now there. Okay. What else can we do? I think this, I will render a bit higher settings and then I'll be back and then we should be done. So this is the result of part 3 of the part 3 session. I'm pretty much happy with it. I like the most successful one for me is the one on the right here and this guy over there, and the fern looks pretty cool. I'm not so happy with whatever is happening here, so I need to cover this up somehow. And other than that, I think it looks pretty cool. It's not obviously not as perfect as this one is, because that's a photo and I don't have the proper geo for that. I would like to get though these glints, so I will be trying in the next session. In part 4, I'll be doing some final touches to this. I will add some volume fog to it and some other interesting things. So be sure to check for part 4. And obviously, if you haven't done so, check out the other parts, part 1 and 2. And as always, thank you guys for tuning in and happy rendering.